Either we are there or not, ITSP Magazine still gets the best stories. There are plenty of conferences and all sorts of events that spark our curiosity and allow us to start conversations with some of the world's brightest minds. In person or virtually, we sit down with them at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Together, we discover what the synergy of these three elements means for the future of humanity. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Marco,
Sean,
I feel that we're on the road.
we are on the road again, our virtual road.
Yes.
We're used to that lately, but I'm kind of tired about it, I guess. I'm ready to actually...
Off being tired of being on the road.
No, being tired of being on a virtual road.
Oh,
as much as I like the metaverse, as much as I like virtual reality and all the fun technology stuff, I think I'm ready one day to finally go back to cover event in person. And this is actually
you
one
want to
of
go
those
back
things.
to events to cover in person, talking about metaverse and technology and stuff.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
this one here was gonna be a good excuse to say, hey, I'm gonna go to Italy for
It's in
a couple
great
of weeks.
place, that's for sure.
Yeah, because this event, it is actually happening in Italy, and I don't know. We'll see. It's maybe.
Well, aside
maybe I
from
should-
the location, this is also exciting because it's not something we normally cover.
Exactly.
Cybersecurity directly. So it may touch on it, but that's not the whole point of this. So what are you doing today, Marco?
So today we are going to Milano in Italy, virtually with Rob Viglione. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly.
You know how to pronounce it better than I do. I'm from New York. So.
There you go. There you go. I didn't do the Italian American accent. I just went straight Italian on this. And and we're talking about the ZenCon, and it's an event that I was invited to go. So that's why I'm like, look, either I go or not. I want to talk with these guys because it seems like you're doing a very interesting event on top of interesting industry that you're covering. So I'm like, yeah, why not? We'll do a little coverage, a quick way to introduce to each other and introduce this event to our audience. So, Rob, a little bit about yourself to start. That will be a good thing. And then we talk about what you do and the event that you have organized.
Sure. I mean, about me, I didn't come prepared to talk about myself, even though it's my favorite topic, guys. Thanks for bringing it up. I am Rob Viglione, the Italian American way of butchering it. I am the CEO and co-founder of Horizen Labs, which is a Web3 company. And we do a variety of interesting things in cryptographic engineering, in particular for interoperability and compatibility technology within the Web3 space. We also launched years ago, a cryptocurrency and public blockchain. So we really come out of the public blockchain world and then spent the next several years just focusing on deep technology. Now we're rolling out a variety of different products that are just fun and things that we'll talk about at the event. But going beyond that, the first part of my career actually started off in the U.S. Air Force. So I was a scientist in the Air Force and worked in space command, ended up pivoting my career from physics and math into a Ph.D. in finance. So I went over to the social sciences, not services, and then got into crypto. Taught a couple of courses at the University of South Carolina on blockchain, cryptocurrency, and then launched this thing that is today Horizen Public Blockchain and Horizen Labs, the software company.
Nice. And you mentioned before we started that you might be connected to something that many people are aware of, but maybe the company name is not directly or immediately associated with it. What is that?
Yeah, it's, we could talk about like deep technology and cryptographic zero knowledge circuits all day long. But then when we mentioned we were the tech team that helped launch ApeCoin and the other side, and really we've been acting as the technology partners for Yuga Labs and the Board API Club. So we're heavily involved in Web3 and just have a fantastic set of clients out there that our goal initially was we just want to be at the heart of Web3. Who cares if it's not a cryptographic circuit we're building? It's just cool stuff anyway. And I think that was the right decision because it just gave us put us at the zeitgeist or heart of the industry of what's going on. And we could talk about some of the core tech that I think is the direction that the industry is going to be going. But this Bored Ape Yacht Club stuff has been probably the most fun that we've had working within the industry.
Well, and I think that, I don't know, maybe it ties into the conference we're going to dig into here. But I mean, because let's be honest, there's a lot of, I don't want to say controversy around Web3. What is it? Who's it for? Who's going to benefit from it? What's the reality of that? Is it going to take off? And I think it's things like publicly aware or very visible, something like ApeCoin and Bored Apes and things like that help draw attention to it. And that doesn't necessarily flesh out whether it will survive or how it'll survive or what it'll look like. But things like your conference probably do help with that. Where you bring people together, I presume, to talk about what it is and how it works and what direction do we want to go and how can we all play a role here. So my first question is, what was it? ZenCon. Is it ZenCon0?
ZenCon0. I saw our first ever. Yeah.
So how did it come to be, this conference?
I wish I had a very creative story. It was actually, we were going to do our annual company event for Horizen Labs, after COVID and everything. It's, we do have 2 offices around the world where people get together and work every day. But as a company, we wanted to get together. And then we realized there's just a lot of cool different things that we do, especially recently with, working with the apes, that we wanted to just open this up. So we opened it up to our community, the Horizen community, and then to a bunch of partners and different technology innovators in the space as well. So rather than just have a super cool corporate event, we decided let's actually make this our first ever ZenCon Summit, so ZenCon0, and hopefully this is the first of many annual really fun creative events that we hold.
And Rob, tell me the community. Who is the community? Who is part of the community? I mean, we just came from covering DEF CON, so we're really into the village hacking community. What's your community?
Yeah, so it's not that community, but I highly respect it for sure. And by the way, I'm reading the book. This is how they tell me the world ends, which is very much religion, and an amazing book from my perspective. But no, our community is. I should specify, we launched a public blockchain 5 years ago, 2017, called Horizen. And it's really that community. That community was at the heart of what we've been doing. It's a small group within the broader Web3 world. And then also spinning off from there and building out and say the ape ecosystem and other Web3 segments that we're in, we decided to bring them all together. So it's really the Horizen community meets this hot new Web3 community, and focus the conversation is really about technology and the direction that we think the technology has to go for this stuff to scale beyond just, a bunch of us nerds.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but part of scaling it is having or broadening the conversation, right? Which sounds like you're bringing this community together to do that. So what, beyond just bringing your team together and having a cool event, what's the vision? What's the ultimate outcome you're hoping to get?
Yeah, so this is, I'd say we came to a bit of an epiphany ourselves in this 5-year journey in crypto. But back then we didn't call it Web3. It's kind of the fun new way of saying it. But our realization is this industry is coalescing around certain standards. And it's these technical standards that are, I think, the key to expanding this beyond the kind of a small user group. And initially the small user group being cryptocurrency users, then, Web3 and NFTs came into existence. But even that is still very narrow segment of society. If this stuff's going to scale, it's interoperability technology, and also this funny subclass of cryptography called zero knowledge cryptography that we are specialists in, and we have a clustering of other partners in this part of the industry that are specialists in. we want to bring them all together. And the point of this conversation that we're trying to spark in ZenCon0 is how does this stuff actually get crypto to scale? And that's all the stuff that we've been working on. But besides this just being about ourselves, we want to bring in others in the space who are working in this area, and connect with people that we think would be good use cases of where this stuff should scale. So we have a variety of enterprises coming in, other partners, where we have partners obviously heavily in the blockchain and Web3 space, but really trying to put people together with those that are from more traditional Web2 or the enterprise world.
So, Rob, are these folks business people? Are they futurists? Are they technologists? Are they engineers? Are they? Who are they? Who's coming together?
Yeah, so skewed more towards people on the tech side, realistically. But we also for sure have other business partners, really on the use case side. Because I think the key now is we do need to, obviously the technology is critical. We don't get anywhere without the technology, but at the same time, we need to proliferate it out there. So we have a curated set of people for which we think that the technology lends itself particularly well. And, we'll have them here, or by here, I mean ZenCon0.
Rob, I'm going to take the opportunity to have you on and ask you a question that is kind of dear to me in the way that you come out quite a bit. We've done a few podcasts on NFTs, Web3. We talk about, the controversy in a way between those that see the future being utopian, everything is great, Web3 is going to be amazing, and everybody's going to benefit from it. And those that are like, just a big hype, just a way to make some quick bucks and all of that. So you've been in this industry for a long time. You're honest, or as honest as you can, opinion on where do you see these going? Yeah.
The blockchain says you're honest.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, we signed I believe a DAO before this, so you're under contract now.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you. Let me preface this with I'm an economist, so of course the glass is half empty for me.
Right.
Joking. I'm actually a very optimistic economist, but I am very familiar with the agency issues, the moral hazards, even just like the inherent technology risks and regulatory risks and things that are part of our industry, even just all the scams, right? And whenever you have just a massive explosion of value creation, you're going to have the sharks smell the blood in the water and they circle in and they just start taking advantage of people. And in particular, when you have an environment that isn't particularly well regulated. It's new. It's out of the norm for the old school regulatory frameworks. Regulators are catching up, but I would say we probably need more. Realistically, even though I'm on the other side of that regulatory equation, but I think there's a lot of risk, and probably and this is one thing that I have been saying for years is a lot of this industry is still like science experiment, and when you mix science experiments with people that come in and think that they're just going to make a lot of money, by taking these wild ass lottery type bets, I think it's problematic, or it can be problematic. And you see this with the many disasters that are out there, whether they're outright scams where people defraud people intentionally, or if you just have hacks that happen, of course, you're going to have lots of hacks, lots of vulnerabilities. Everything that we're doing is new. And rather than treating things with the respect that they're experimental, and even just the sloppiness of a lot of the software development in our industry is, rather than having structured software development processes where things go through intensive review cycles and dev nets to test nets to, even more testing and auditing before you go live, oftentimes people fork a project and go live immediately. Right. And I'll caveat, when we first launched in 2017, we had no idea what we were doing. Right. So the organization we have now with 100, technology professionals is much different than the org that we had with, a handful of enthusiastic community members. But at the time, we kind of viewed it as an experiment, and we were talking about orders of magnitude less value that existed in the industry. And then we just saw this stuff explode. And I don't think that we've had the requisite controls or just like sentiment of realizing how risky this stuff all is. Now, on the other hand, I'm extremely optimistic, enthusiastic. I think we are changing the world, but let's be honest about where we are, and it's a mixed bag.
So are those conversations you're having with with your employees and with your partners? Because I know one aspect is to not be regulated, right? That's part of the promise of Web3, that there's no real government oversight. So I'm wondering, does that mean you ignore those conversations, or because I think it's supposed to be self-regulated, but
no.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would say that those are like overly optimistic people that think self-regulation is going to solve everything. I think the thousands of years of human history that we've had shows that doesn't always work out well. And we see failures in our own industry, by the way. So no, look, to caveat, we are a U.S. C corp. So we have two entities. Like I say, like Horizen Labs is a Delaware C corp. So we are very much U.S. laws and regulations are applicable to us, binding to us. Period. And then there's a nonprofit foundation that was launched in 2017 for the Horizen ecosystem. And then there was an Ape Foundation that was recently launched, for the ApeCoin launch. So everything that we do is, of course, regulatory compliant, just because, well, number one, it's the right thing to do. We want to do it. But we're also at this intersection of an industry where many of our peers out there are completely wildcatting it, and just throwing smart contracts out there and say, hey, it's decentralized, wash my hands of it. I don't think that that's the way the world works. And I think that we're seeing people actually being held accountable for things like that. Now, that said, there's definitely a place in my mind in the world where decentralized technologies are absolutely critical, maybe life-changing, or if not life-preserving. If you live in a terrible regime in the world and you just don't have access to the things we take for granted, there's definitely a place out there for these technologies, and we support them, right? But the way that we operate, and I think, number one, you want to be responsible, but two, you better abide by whatever jurisdiction you live in.
And Rob, are policymakers part of this conversation? Are part of this ecosystem already?
100%. Yeah. I mean, so Gary Gensler came from teaching blockchain at MIT to now running, the SEC. So you're seeing regulations that are informed. I won't say always, appropriate from my perspective, but for sure informed and probably going in the right direction. I just hope that, there's a saying, something, I'm going to butcher it, but to a regulator, every problem looks like, or I don't know, the hammer, the nail thing, you know what I'm saying, right? And I hope that not everything gets treated with blunt force, and that there's some nuance that does get accepted. We'll see, though. I think one thing that I'm comfortable or confident in is when you have regulatory competition, things hopefully will get better. And we're seeing different agencies competing with each other for regulation. We're seeing different states competing. Like Wyoming came out and wanted to be a DAO-friendly state to attract crypto companies. When you see things like this happen, I think that it lends itself to even innovation in the regulatory domain.
I think it's easy to get caught up, certainly if we spend our 90% of our time looking at cybersecurity. We're kind of jaded in that regard. I try to look, even when I'm talking to people who are responsible for cybersecurity programs, try to look at it from how can you change the business to achieve the best outcomes in a way that ensures your cybersecurity program will succeed. And so that means don't get caught up in all the heaviness of the risk and all that. Understand it, but know what outcomes you're trying to reach and drive the business toward them in a safe way. And so I'm wondering, the conference in mind or not, how are you helping to drive some things forward for this space, perhaps in a safe way?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a bunch of different angles we could take there. I will say, first of all, we are also very concerned about cybersecurity or InfoSec as a company. Anyone with experience there wants to join, please reach out. We're always hiring. In fact, we are actually looking to hire a head of security. So we do take it very seriously. And when you read books like This Is How They Tell Me the World Ends, it's hard not to freak out, and it's hard to ever think you're safe, and probably aren't. And, but how do you operate as a company, as an organization, or as a human being in that kind of environment? It's really tough. You have to make trade-offs. You have to, I think, as long as you take the premise that you want to do everything responsibly, and then the trade-offs that you make are, intelligent on that framework. I know this is generic, but as an example, like we don't want to wildcat, just throw out smart contracts and hope for the best. We actually go through very rigorous software development processes and the third-party audits. And then when we go live, we at least have some reasonable assurance coupled with clear, honest messaging to the communities of like, here's exactly what we did. We did our best, but there's still a risk there. And we have these conversations. They're open. I think it's the best we can really do, or maybe it's at least a decent job. Who knows if it's good enough even, but like, unless you want to be completely paralyzed and do nothing, I mean, you have to choose a process, and if it's reasonable, move forward with it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think that's the value of community as well, because not everybody knows everything, and so bringing people together can have that conversation is important.
Yeah. So as we're starting to wrap, I have one. I'm going to leave it as the final question because I'm curious of something that is going to happen at the event. I'm on the website. But before it's a big launch. Well, no, there is something that started with 0 and then there is gravity on it. I want to know about that. But before we go there, what is... I'm stealing Sean's question, by the way. Once in a while, we feed off each other. We have our own, signature questions here and there. What does success means for you for this event? Like, you want to walk away and be like, "Damn it, it was really what I wanted." What was that like?
Man, so I'm a mathematician at heart, I would say, and like we just have some really cool like math and science presentations there. If we get the right people in the room and those equations start flowing, it's going to be fun, and I'll walk away and think this is a success. On the other hand, clearly, I mean, we have a business and an ecosystem we're cultivating. I want to see that spark in the ecosystem, and this is totally intangible for sure. It's intangible, but we're bringing people together. We're providing a safe environment where equations can flow and technology demos can run. And I want to see that spark where other people beyond us just kind of take the mantle and run with it, just come together and things start happening. So yes, intangible, but we'll see the results probably afterwards rather than just nice reviews that people might be able to leave. If we actually see people building on technology or working with each other, grabbing pieces of it and running with it, that to me is going to be a success.
Excitement, right?
Yeah, exactly.
People get excited.
How do you measure that? But that's it.
Now, so I'm going to pull on this. I know we're coming to the end, but I'm going to do my one last question as well. And then Marco's going to go back to the final, because it sounds like you're actually building stuff at the con. And I can envision, I've covered Salesforce, Dreamforce events on occasion, and they have big developer areas where it's just huge rooms of teams coming together and building on different parts of the Salesforce platform. And those are really cool. I mean, they have hackathons and competitions and trainings and all kinds of stuff. So maybe just a quick word on how people are going to be developing or slinging math around.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're not as cool as Salesforce yet. That's point number one. Well, hopefully we get there is point number two. But what we are delivering in the near future, what's on our testnet now, is an Ethereum virtual machine that we integrated into like a side chain. So a cryptographically provable side chain, one that runs with snarks for the ZK dorks out there. And this is our core technology. And we got the back end of it out there last December, and now we're launching this smart contract platform on it. So this is the focal point for us, at least in our kind of product development efforts right now, are building smart contract applications using this EVM, and then hopefully releasing this EVM to the world for others to use. So that's a big focal point for us, and hopefully next year and as things roll, we can get more hackathons and beyond just us doing curated demos. This year will be more of like the demo category versus the hackathon category, even though we will have like NFT drops and these other things that you have to do if you want to have a cool crypto event these days.
All right, so that you just passed me the ball for asking about zero gravity. Let's see, is a NFT line created for the event? What's that?
So it's a special NFT collection. We have a really it was a fun group of people who run our marketing team, and they put together this zero gravity collection that we're giving out to people that actually attend the event. So that should be your best incentive to come to the event. Never mind the math and equations and stuff like that. You can get your own NFT and be part of that. Really, the initial ZenCon, the ZenCon0, that only happens once ever. And if you do come for these events over the years, get your NFT now.
Well, I'm thinking that people that are part of this industry, they'll be excited about some cool NFTs. I would be surprised if they were not. It's like, come on, what are you going to give me? Give me a real pen.
It's the equivalent of the DEF CON badge.
Give me a real, yeah, exactly. That's the badge with all the circuit. You're going to get a virtual one.
That's right.
All right, well, couple of minutes to end your call to action and what, again, for the event, which will be September 11, 13, 2022 in Milano, Italy. 2 final words to invite people there.
Yeah, I mean, free airdrop. I mean, that's probably the best reason. Just kidding, guys. But do check it out. ZenCon.events is the website for it if you want to check it out more. And, like if the event isn't your thing, and we will have live stream portions of it, so you can see any area that might be interesting to you. You can actually just chunk that part out and watch it. Put it on our YouTube channel. But in general, if any of the things that we do sound cool to you, come check us out, Horizen.io, HorizenLabs.io, and it's Zen because Zen was the cryptocurrency that we first launched. So Horizen.
Very cool. We'll have these links on the notes for the podcast, and it was fun. I hope we can interact again in the future, either in Milan or New York or wherever it is, or virtually, in the metaverse. We didn't talk about the metaverse, so maybe we'll leave that for.
We can have a whole conversation about the other side, Meta Guild, OMG.
For another time. We'll have actually a few panels on the metaverse, so maybe we'll invite you and you can share your opinion on that. So far, this is it. Sean was another event coverage, either we're there or not. We hope
in our virtual car, we changed the channel and had a different conversation.
We changed gears in the virtual car. Rob, thank you so much.
Rob,
it was a pleasure.
Guys, pleasure. Appreciate it.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of our On Location Conversation. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.